Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Are you tired of healing? Has healing become a job you feel like you're not very good at? Well, today we are talking about healing and how maybe taking a break from it is the best healing of all. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
So, Scotty, do you feel like you are sick of fixing yourself?
You know what? I do.
You have a lot of people around here always telling you what you need fixed.
That's true. Yeah.
Poor Scotty.
That's definitely true. No, I mean, when you presented this topic to me, I did get a little nervous because, I do have to come up with some stuff for the podcast.
Yeah.
And ideas and thoughts.
Yes.
And I felt this one, a lot of emotion behind this one, maybe.
Okay.
There'd be a lot of emotion with this one.
Yeah, you're right.
And, you know what the first thing I thought of?
What?
I thought of Kevin Costner.
Oh, that's...
The actor.
That doesn't surprise me with you because he's like your guy. Like no matter what he's been through in the media, like that's your guy.
Well, he's not my guy anymore.
Oh, why?
Because he became once he made that show Yellowstone.
Yeah.
He became everyone else's guy.
Oh, would you refuse to watch Yellowstone?
And now he's done. I like old Kevin Costner stuff.
No, but then he got in a whole melee in the media, and people don't like him anymore.
Yeah, and neither do I.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I'm done with Kevin.
That's it. You broke up with him in your parasocial relationship head.
But it is funny that when you presented this topic to me, I truly did think of Kevin Costner and the movie Bull Durham.
Okay,
this is one of his earlier movies. Let me just explain it a little bit, and then you'll see where I'm going. No, everyone right now is like, where's he going with this?
Like baseball movie click.
Yeah, fast forward. Let me get to your speech part. We don't need this in our lives. But so the movie is Bull Durham, and basically it's Kevin Costner. He's an aging baseball player playing in the minor leagues, and he's there to help other minor league baseball players go to the big leagues, to the major leagues. Okay. And he's in a small town, Durham, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And he's there to train this one guy who's a great pitcher, but his head isn't on straight, right? He's got a lot of emotional problems.
This young guy.
Right. And then there's a female character played by Susan Sarandon.
Yeah.
Who is there to, bring these players along.
She's like their muse or their therapist or their
She's like their kind of like everything all in one. Okay. She's like Jumanji, therapist, everything all in one for these young ball players.
Do they employ her or is this her free will?
This is her free will.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, this is her free will. But anyway.
It's made a while ago.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a point here, people. I do.
Okay.
And so basically the whole movie, it's a baseball movie, but it's really about, trying to heal yourself so that you could, I guess, be a better person and thus play better baseball.
Like live to your potential.
Live to your potential, correct. So at the end of the movie, Kevin Costner, he does his job. He gets the younger player off to the major leagues. Mm-hmm. And then he's kind of just floating around the minor leagues. And he's been playing the game forever and ever. And he just wants to do one more thing, like hit a final home run and kind of be done with it. And so then at the end of the movie, he goes back to the woman. Mm-hmm. Because there's a whole love scene between the young guy and the old guy. Of course, you can figure that out.
Oh, it's like a love triangle?
Yeah, it's a love triangle. Okay. And this is what he says to her. Okay, he says, right now I'm tired. I don't want to think about baseball. I don't want to think about quantum physics. I don't want to think about nothing. I just want to be.
Yeah.
And I've watched the movie a few times, and I guess that line must have stuck with me because it's the first thing I thought of when you told me about this healing episode. And I guess I didn't really understand what he was telling her in the movie, So can you flush that out for me?
But you kind of understand it now.
A little bit more, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Like, what is it to just be?
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? Like, if you're not trying to do anything, and if you're just sitting with yourself, like, what is that? And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today because it's uncomfortable and it's directionless, and that's the point.
Yeah. And look, when I saw the movie at the end there, I was really upset with that ending because I didn't understand it. I'm like, what does he mean? I just want to be,
Oh, I think you're going to really.
But now I'm starting to get what Kevin was talking about. It. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, you're going to talk about it.
Everybody's got a type. And Way is yours. Their shampoo and conditioner are made to deliver what's just right for your hair type. I have thick hair. So my hair gets very dry. Since I've been using Way's thick hair shampoo and conditioner, my strands look way more hydrated and feel bouncier and shinier. How did I start this? Well, I took Way's hair quiz. I got my results. I have thick hair, and I got the products that are for my hair type. I love with Way, there's not a lot of thinking. Like you have a problem, they have a solution. For example, I also sometimes notice there's so much buildup in my hair, and their detox shampoo, whoa, it deeply cleanses away buildup from styling products, oil, impurities, environmental grossness that sticks to your scalp. That stuff is amazing. I feel refreshed and super clean. Wash your way to healthy hair and get a hair routine that's made just for you by Way. Go to TheOuai.com and use promo code Aura for 15% off any product. That's The Way, TheOuai.com, code Aura. Healing is not exactly your purpose. Your purpose is to have fun, is to be inspired. Your purpose is to learn and grow and help others. And healing can be something that you do, and it can assist you with your purpose, but it's not necessarily your purpose. And I wanted to say that because I feel like many of us get exhausted. So many things in our world turn into something that's not fun, And when you're learning about yourself, or you're going to therapy, or you're listening to self-help podcasts, or you're learning about spirituality, or you're supposed to have some fun. Okay, it's supposed to be about discovery, and it's supposed to assist you with your purpose. But sometimes in our 3D world, all the time in our 3D world, everything becomes an exhausting job that you're not doing well enough. And there's someone else that's doing it better. And you need to buy this and go here and get that and try this and do this and be more consistent. And it's exhausting. And I really feel like it's our 3D world taking the concept of healing and making sure you don't do it. So I wanted to talk about that today because I notice that a lot of what we look for, try to fix, attempt to discover are all those unhealed parts of ourselves. Why don't I make boundaries? Why don't I speak up for myself? Why am I so scared of this? Why do I find people that do this to me or that to me, etc.? It can take up a lot of our time, and it's important, but it can get exhausting because my question is, what's our end goal here? Like, is the journey of healing our actual purpose? I wanted to do this episode because I feel like we're getting fatigued with healing. Healing can be a sort of capitalistic endeavor, little industry. So many places are ready to help you heal. And it's a good thing to have that support. It sure is. And we need it. But we also need balance, and we need to practice what it feels like to just be and feel whole and feel present in the now as we are. Whatever it is you are healing from now in life, perhaps it's mental health conditions or a physical condition, a chronic condition, health, trauma, there is a need for you to know something. You are not broken. Nothing can touch that part of you that is eternal, that is whole and cannot be broken. No matter what anyone did to you, no matter what any disease did to your body, nothing can touch that part of you. I want you to know that you're not broken. And when you accept where you're at, it can be really scary. It can be really vulnerable. It can be something maybe you don't want to accept. You don't want to admit it. But in that very moment, you're giving yourself immense power, and you're taking it away from any outside forces which attempt to define you. Because I want you to know that you are more than what has hurt you or who has hurt you. You're not identified by the pain that you suffered. You've gotten stronger for it, yes. More resilient, yes. But you did the stronger part. You did the resilient part. Whatever or whoever it was that caused your suffering, it didn't do anything for you. It didn't define you. Okay? You did the healing. You survived. You are currently doing it. You changed and evolved and leveled up. You did it. I want you to own all the good that you've done to get to this very moment right now, because you have done amazing, brave, courageous things, and you are more than all of that which has happened to you. You're an infinite being of power and light, and you are okay in this moment, just the way you are. And simply breathing and sitting here at this moment, that's your purpose. Not anything on any to-do list of healing you must do. Okay. In our 3D world, it's a big thing. Oh, you're not. Nope, not yet. Nope. Do this, buy this, go here, be that, be this, now be this. Trend changed. Now go be this. Okay. In our 3D world, they'll have you on a wild goose chase trying to get healed, but you're already healed. There's stuff that happens to you. There's stuff that you're dealing with. There's a journey that you're on, but you're okay. I just want you to know that whatever your life looks like right now, there is an inside part of you that is spiritually connected to everything, and that can't be broken. So there are, of course, responsibilities we have to ourselves make sure of. We have to stay healthy in all our bodies, our spiritual body, our mental body, emotional and physical body. But honestly, your purpose is fulfilled in this very moment. You can take a break from feeling anxious about what's next on the journey of healing. I notice in a ton of my readings, a lot of you are searching for a missing piece of yourself. And honestly, me too, because it's not like I know everything. I just pick up a lot of this stuff from readings and then I'm like, oh yeah, me too. But a lot of us are searching for this missing piece of myself. What happened? What did the ailment or the person or the trauma, what did it take away from me? What part of me did it break? Something that's lost and needs to be recovered. But when you understand that healing is really about just sitting with yourself, absorbing who you are and being honest about it, you'll see that pausing is actually the most important part of healing. So what does that look like? It looks like having fun with friends, laughing till you cry, eating without shaming yourself, prioritizing your sleep, setting up your boundaries, not apologizing for speaking up for yourself, taking pride in yourself, patting yourself on the back, speaking kindly to yourself. I mean, there's so many ways you can sit in this very moment and see how whole, how very wonderful, and how very okay you actually are. I also see that there's a fear. And this comes with being sick or having suffered trauma or mental illness or addiction. There's this fear that it's still there, that it's lurking around the corner, waiting for you to be happy so it can surprise you, so it can catch you off guard. I see this sometimes in your aura with addiction. I actually see this with addiction a lot. I see, depending on what part of that should be a whole other episode, by the way, depending on what part of your aura got mostly involved in your addiction, that's the part you're scared of. So purples are the easiest to describe with this, for example. So I'll see somebody who is really scared of their purple, okay? Because that's the energy of themselves they associate with addiction. They don't want to fall back into it. And they're really scared of it because, oh my gosh, if I say yes to this and I'll say yes to this and I'll say yes to that, oh boy, they're scared of themselves. They distrust their own energy. And when you distrust your own energy, it's like a self-rejection. And yes, maybe it was important for a while, but there has to be some way we move through that. And the way you move through it is actually by sitting with it and just sitting with the discomfort of it. Because when you've been hurt like that, when you've been hurt by some sort of ailment, it's like you just know it's waiting for you to be happy so it can surprise you and catch you off guard. I mean, I think we all can relate to that. Okay, if the second I'm happy, the rug's going to get pulled out from under me. That's when it happens. So you better always be on guard. Or if you ever are in that moment, it's so happy and you're just having this great time and you're out with friends and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Oh, this is great. And all of a sudden, like, the intrusive thought shows up and you're just like, oh, the intrusive thought's like, who knows what, you don't have enough money in your bank account. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Because at the end of the day, there's really no correlation between you letting your guard down and getting the rug pulled out from under you. Your ego, the human part of you that just likes to stay the same because that's how you survive. And it's just biology. It's just how we've been around. Our egos are on full alert when we've been scared or hurt. And it tells you to see any sort of surprise or life situation as a threat, as an indication it's happening again. So being calm, present, and peaceful, any sort of, oh, I'm going to pat myself on the back, giving yourself that love, having a great time, that can suddenly be connoted with by your ego is, oh no, this is exactly what happens right before we get hurt. This causes the pain. And so they just try to get your vibe down. You just try to get your own vibe down to prepare for it. But when you see that this is just a survival mechanism, this is just your ego trying to protect you, you can settle it down. And it can help you sit with things. It can help you be present this way. You can pat that little ego on its head and it's chirping away about all the bad things that could happen now and all the fears. And you send it off to bed like you would a too tired child. You don't need to deal with that. Will it stay there? Yeah, it's going to stay there. Do you listen to it? Sure, you do listen to it. Do you believe it? Not so much. It's a slippery slope into anything in our world which can land us in the place of self-critique and eventually self-sabotage. So taking breaks from actively healing and practicing feeling okay with that is actually a great way to combat this and is actually a form of really deep healing. And I hope this makes sense.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.
So I have 7 ideas for you. And me too. I'm going to try this too. The first idea is the goal is not perfection and it is not happiness. I've said this on here before. Wholeness, not happiness. The ability to feel okay with yourself. Or not, but at least present right now in whatever you feel, giving yourself a big hug and just loving up on who you are at this very moment. That's what it's about. So we have to throw out the idea of perfection. You might feel like you have to be perfect somewhere very deep inside of you. So know where you expect some sort of perfectionism from yourself, but would not. And the easy way to see that is, would you expect that from other people? So that's kind of where you can see, oh, I'm harder on myself than I am to anyone else. And those are the spots you have to kind of be like, oh, I gotta chill out here. I gotta lay up on this. Idea 2, you don't have to plan for your potential. All right, you don't always have to have a direction. Going within and being present often actually feels directionless. But you are centering, you are anchoring yourself. It's okay to feel all over the place. Like, it's okay to feel messy. It's okay to sit and be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know what job I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going next. I don't know it's okay. That's actually sitting with that and sitting with that discomfort, not distracting yourself from it, and just like, okay, I'm feeling all these feelings, and being more observational about it rather than, you can still feel all the anxiety and everything, just always observe it at the same time. It's good for you. You don't always have to run ahead with a plan. You can sit in the mess. I had a reading with a woman today, actually, lovely, beautiful woman. And I just got this beautiful message from her guides. She was yellow purple, but she's indigo too. But she had a hard time letting the indigo out. If you've been here a while, you know exactly what I mean. But in her unlocked journey of healing lately, she was letting it out, which means it was that she could feel joy because she allowed herself to feel other things in between. That was the message from her guides. They said, you can feel joy because you're brave enough to feel all the other feelings in between. And that was huge for her. It's not about all day happiness. It's about that bravery. It's about that courageousness of letting yourself feel everything, all the other stuff too, in the present moment. Anything that's unpleasant, anything that's uncomfortable, anything that's just, not a welcome thought. Allowing yourself to feel all that was how she allowed herself to feel joy. Like true joy, true authentic joy is in the cracks of all that stuff. But you can't feel it unless you let yourself feel everything. And it's scary at first, but then you do get used to it. And then it's not as bad. Why? Because you build up coping mechanisms to being present and being in the present moment and feeling whole, not happy, whole. Getting used to patting yourself on the back, like, okay, this is how I feel today. This is where I'm at today. This is what I've done in my life. Cool. Sitting with that. Oh, yeah. And it's just about letting yourself be messy and loving yourself that way too. Okay. So the third one, here's permission. Okay. Skip the journaling for today. Take the day off the workout routine. Take 2 days off your workout. Take the week off of your workout routine, okay? Eat the cake. Stop beating yourself up when you fall into an old pattern, okay? Like, let's say you said yes today to a friend who always uses you, and you told yourself, I'm not going to fall for it. And then she calls you, and then you fall for it. Okay, you did, whatever. Don't beat yourself up too bad. We're still learning, okay? Or, you get jealous. You see somebody got an opportunity, and you're just like, oh, that's great. That's so great. And inside you're like really jealous. It's okay. Doesn't mean you're this awful person. It just means you're human. Pat yourself on the back. It's okay. We're getting there. Sit with the imperfection. See how you feel. The point is getting back on the horse. Not that you fell off it. The point is, hey, I fell off the wagon. Can I get back on and not make it such a big flippin' deal? When you notice you can do that, you're like, oh, hey, it's outside stuff that throws me off my game, has nothing to do with the inside centered balance I have curated. Cool. All right, number 4, the process is not linear. That is a 3D thought that we all go in some sort of straight line. I mean, the whole 3D world is set up in a straight line. School, college, work, promotion, everything's set up in this a fake line that we're all supposed to be on. It doesn't work that way. You're actually going to go backwards a lot. You're going to go sideways. You're going to go zigzag. You're going to get stuck in plateaus. You're going to feel despair when you get stuck in plateaus. All is part of it. There's this 3D concept that we all have to move in this straight line. But honestly, revisiting things, circling back, taking the zigzags, it's actually more natural than anything linear. Think about nature. Things can be seasonal like nature in your life, cyclical, reworked, reharvested, renewed. It can take many cyclical cycles a bunch of times in order to work through something. And honestly, breakthroughs will happen sporadically. You might not even know a breakthrough's coming. And then one morning you wake up and all of a sudden, I don't care what my mom thinks about me anymore. What? Where did that come from? I really don't care. Whoa. All of a sudden it just happens. And it's because you were sitting with things. Idea 5, make peace with past version of you. Past version of you, they did what they had to with the best tools that were available to them at that time. They did great. Big hugs to past version of you. Don't critique or beat your past self up about it. If you hang out with people and they're like, remember when you did it? It's like, yeah, thank God I've grown since then. Okay, can we not bring it up all the time? You can laugh at yourself. You can understand, but most of all, understand that you did what you had to do to get through it. And was it perfect? Of course not. Is everything you're doing now perfect? Of course not. But guess what? You're here, you're learning, you're on the cycle. You're doing great. So make peace with past version of you and love that person. Number 6, you are going to make your own rules for doing all this. Healing, whatever you want to call it. This pause in healing, whatever you're doing here, you're going to make your own rules. It's a mishmash of a lot of things you expose yourself to. And then you just take what you resonate with and, leave what you don't. It's not about following someone else's way of healing and doing just that. It's about creating your own path and knowing it's perfect for you the way it is. And finally, I need to give you this pep talk, and it's called, it's your accomplishment, not anyone else's. Yes, people support you. Yes, you've been loved and heard and seen, but you were the one that unlocked the ability to self-heal, the ability we all have, the thing that you are deserving of giving yourself. You can unlock your ability right now, and there's no forward motion where a future healed you lives. That person is here right now. You were born whole. You were born unbroken. You were born healed. Okay? That part of you is inside of you. And it's just about letting it shine a little bit more than the rest of the stuff. That were honestly just mechanisms for dealing with a lot of things. So today, let's see how you can just go out and make your purpose just having a great time. Being exactly who you are in this moment. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so I hope that helped. And I would love to hear the Mystic Michaela spiritual family and their feedback on this and tips and ways to take a break from healing over on the Mystic Michaela spiritual family Facebook page.
Yeah, I just can't get over why I thought of that quote from the Kevin Costner movie. As you were giving your speech, I just kept thinking, why did that keep coming, back into my brain?
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's so old. It's like kind of like a sappy part of the movie.
Right.
And I just don't get it. Why did that? I still don't understand why I kept thinking of that line.
I think because when something resonates with your soul,
okay,
but you're not there yet, in your biological brain can't compute it. That's what that is. So that happens to all of us. You see something, or you see a piece of art, or you hear somebody say something, or something sticks with you, or whatever, and you feel something, and you just can't put it into words, so you store it, and then one day it sometimes makes sense because your life kind of caught up to understanding it developmentally. But it's when your soul is like, that's important. Even if your brain doesn't understand, your soul does.
Could it also be because maybe I used to be better at letting it be, just being, and maybe I'm not as good at that now?
When I met you, obviously you were, a baby, as we both were.
Right.
I think, yeah, you totally were great. I mean, you had no plan. You were fine. Like, you were living with your buddies, working at Domino's, the biggest thing every day, day to day, no future plans. When you met me, you said, I don't like to plan for the future. Like, you're very upfront about that. You're like, I can't think more than a few days in advance. I'm like,
no,
okay.
No, that is true. And that part's still a little hard for me still, but not as hard. But yeah, maybe I used to be too good at letting it be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I truly could be the only person that had a master's degree in history and was making pizzas at Domino's. If there's anyone else out there that was doing that, or maybe you had a PhD working at Domino's, let me know, because then you beat me, I guess. But yeah, it was really easy for me just to be. Now that I think about that, why? Now this brings up a lot of questions. Like, why was I there? Why did I work there with a master's? Why was I there for so long? Why couldn't I just walk out the door? Right? I should have been able. I was there for years.
Yeah.
Making basically minimum wage, putting toppings on pizza, telling people, all right, take this delivery here, take this delivery there. And it's kind of...
It was hard for you.
It's interesting.
When
it was really hard for me to leave.
Like, why was it so hard to quit this job? Like, it's literally, they won't care. Like, it's Domino's. Like, they'll forget about you. Like, it's not a big deal. I think you were avoiding the next steps. Like, I think there is an active... Well, there's two things. One, it's youth. Right. It's very hard to move past youth into societal expectations for survival, which include a different type of job or next steps or, being responsible and all the things the 3D world puts upon us. And I think you were just avoiding that. And it's something that you knew you didn't want to deal with. It went against, I think you do love to just be. You're a kid at heart. And I think we all had the opportunities to just, if we were lucky, to just be as kids. Yeah. And so we all know how to do it. Like, we all have done it if we were lucky enough.
Right.
But leaving that is sad. Some people are better at it than others. I don't think you're real good at it.
No. But wow, it's bringing back a lot of memories. Like, I truly had so much trouble. Like, every single day, I'm like, I'm going to quit. Yeah. This is me. I'm quitting today. Like, remember that? Like, every day.
Every day. I was like, so
and
quit?
Then I get there.
Do you want me to quit for you?
Yeah, I do the shift. And then finally, it was so weird because, like, the owner of this Domino's, he owned 2 stores. Mm-hmm. So he had 2 stores in the Buffalo area. And I used to work at the one in Amherst, West Amherst, I think. Was it West Amherst? I can't remember. North Amherst, I think, right?
I don't know.
I don't remember. And
you wouldn't let me come there. You said it was too awful.
Yeah, it was bad. I was like, I must have been, yeah. So there must have been something going on in my head. Like, why are you doing this?
Right.
And so finally I was like, all right, I'm quitting. And I went in there and I actually, like, I told the guy, all right, I'm quitting. And then he's like, well, okay. But maybe you want to work at the other store.
Oh, like, so you quit.
So I quit.
But then you didn't.
And then I went to the East Amherst store.
You should have been like, I don't want to think about pizzas. I don't want to think about quantum physics. I just want to be. That's what you should have said.
I should have said the Kevin Costner line. Yeah. That's what I should have told him. I don't. Yeah. So.
So you just kept going. Yeah.
So then I kept going, and then I went to the East Amherst store. So yeah, I think the first one is North Amherst, and then I went to the East Amherst store.
Yeah.
And it was just like a graveyard.
It was so boring.
It was just a graveyard. Like nobody ordered. There was like maybe you got like maybe like 5 orders came in the entire shift.
Yeah.
And I just would sit at the back desk behind, in the back of the store. There was no phones. There was no social media.
Yeah, what'd you do all day?
I didn't even have an Instagram account that you could look at or
Nothing.
Something. I don't know what I did. What did I do?
What did you do?
I don't know.
I remember you used to call me from there.
Yeah.
And tell me that you wanted to quit. And I'm like, so quit. Okay.
It was it was just so boring. Right. It was just like me and one other person that.
The other store at least was character land.
Yeah, the other store.
So many characters.
Yeah, the other store was like me, and I was like the assistant manager.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just got a little impressed.
Had my tag. It said assistant manager on it.
All right.
My dirty cornmeal domino shirt. But, and I was like the leader of that group.
Yeah.
That was my group. So maybe it was like all my.
Your Red Aura.
Yeah, my Red Aura.
Leadership group. Leader vibes.
Yes. And we all know like some of my domino stories where I went to jail for throwing eggs at a house and things like that. So all that was happening there. So I guess I probably thought if I quit, then that goes away.
Yeah.
And then the B goes away, I guess, right? If I quit there, then what do I do? Wow. Yeah, it's deep, I guess.
That was hard. I remember that was like right at the beginning of our relationship, and you were this was on your mind all the time.
Yeah.
So you kind of couldn't just be anymore because you were thinking about the possibility of leaving that existence and going into a different existence. So you kind of replaced. I think you made it super difficult for yourself, so then it was easier actually to go into the unknown than stay in the known because you were so repetitive in your head about it.
Yeah. Well, also part of me maybe I was a little psychic and I knew it was coming if I did quit. And because when I actually did quit finally, and I left the other store, the East Amherst store, I said, I'm done with this. This is too boring. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Then I actually went into like a depression.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And then I moved back to Long Island, New York.
Oh, God. Back at home.
And there I was sitting without anything.
With your parents?
With my parents. With a master's degree in history.
Right.
And then there was only one thing left that I could do.
Yeah.
And that was either beg for my job back at Domino's.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Go into teaching.
Yeah.
And thus I went, and that's how I became a teacher, because at that time in New York City, as long as if you had a master, they needed teachers so badly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's still like that today, but they needed teachers so badly that if you had a master's, and I had no teaching experience, no teaching credits at the time.
Right.
As long as you had a master's, or I think even like a 4-year college degree, you could be a teacher in New York City.
And keep them in the classroom, right?
Yeah, that was my whole job the first year. Just keep them
because the kids would just leave
the classroom. Yeah, I worked in inner city Brooklyn, in a very real bad area, and basically it was my job. They told me was keep them in the classroom.
You loved it though. You were like,
it was my favorite year of teaching.
That was your favorite year ever.
The funniest thing is, and that was like I don't know what they called it, like probation, like because you'd had to put in that year because I didn't have a teaching certificate,
right?
And the funniest thing was, and we're totally off topic now.
Yes,
I don't even know where we're going with this.
I don't know,
but I became their go-to teacher. So the school had to get observed by
Stop it.
like the big wigs of New York.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, and they would come into my classroom. I'm like, why are you coming to my room? I have no effing idea what I'm doing. I've been on this job for 3 months. I have no teaching credentials. I have a history degree.
Right.
But that's all I have. And actually, I was teaching science. I was teaching science.
You're teaching middle school science.
Yeah. And here it was, like, they would bring in all these people.
That's nuts.
To watch me.
Wow.
And they're like, and at the end, I'm like, well, why are you guys picking me? And they're like, you're good. I'm like, what?
You're just kind of natural.
I'm not good. Don't tell me I'm good. I'm not good.
I think the kids liked you, and they stayed in the classroom. They maybe
I did keep them in the classroom.
Maybe they were sitting, like and they were listening.
Well, I mean, not all the time they were sitting. I mean, there was one time where someone threw a computer out the window and almost killed someone on the walking by.
That's horrible. That's so not funny.
No, it's not.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah. And like someone came up and like, someone just threw a computer out your window.
You didn't even know?
I didn't even know.
Wow. But you were the best teacher.
But I was the best teacher.
Right.
So, but anyway, I don't know where we're going.
Track.
I don't know we're way off track here. I apologize.
Think it's that was interesting though, because I feel like what you're trying to say.
Yeah. What am I saying? I don't even know anymore. I should go back to Domino's?
Let's see if I can clean it up. I think the concept of just being is something that unfortunately we age out of as an acceptable way to be. And coming back to it, you have to fit it in the moments where you're doing everything else, where you have to think about the future, you have to plan for this, or you have to be responsible, or all that kind of stuff. And it's just the incorporation of just being and being uncomfortable and letting yourself feel all the feelings and letting yourself enjoy the moments and be present at the same time, make sure that you're doing the things that you have to be responsible for. It's a hard balance, but it's a balance that's necessary for the real healing that we all have to do. I don't know how that relates to the teaching, but it was just funny.
No, I mean,
it's a funny story.
Yeah,
I used to live for those stories.
This episode really brought back a lot of memories for me. I'll be like, I'm just thinking of all these teaching things that happened to me that year and a half. That's a whole nother podcast.
We've talked about some of them.
I could go on for hours talking about those stories.
I live for those stories.
They were great.
But
I guess you're. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was more that I've always been delayed. Okay, everything I do has been delayed by at least a decade. So I'm like a decade behind.
Yeah,
and I think that's what happened there with Domino's and the man. I just didn't want to be out of the bee. I wanted to just be like Kevin Costner. I just wanted to be. I didn't want to think about having a family and actually having a I don't want to say a real job, but a career. Let's call it a career.
Yeah.
It's admirable work to do any work, but I didn't want to think of those next steps. I just wanted to be. I just wanted to drive around and egg people's houses in my 20s.
Bad tippers.
Yeah, bad
That's
tippers.
a whole other story, guys.
And most
not
people,
that it makes it right, but I just need them to know.
Yeah. Most people have figured it out way before I did. So, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't know. But then it's hard to get that bee back. It's hard to get it back.
Society really goes after. Well, that's interesting because I think society really does villainize that mental state.
Yeah.
So if you're just living life like I don't have a goal, I'm not doing that right now. I'm sitting right now. I'm taking my time in life. I'm doing my thing. I'm not talking about the future. I'm focusing on now. There is a lot of, that's so irresponsible, or you're lazy, or, get it together, or it's time to think about the future. You're all that kind of stuff. It's a heavy weight on everyone's shoulders.
It is.
So and I really feel like it's our 3D world making sure we don't heal. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of healing,
yes,
as we end the show, there is a way to heal, and that's through crystals.
Crystals
can make you heal. This is not an ad, by the way, but yes, crystals. I'm a big fan of crystals.
You are.
Not really. But right this moment, I'm a big fan.
Though? I always see my crystals because I have my own little crystals next to my reading spot. And then I'll see some of them sometimes travel. We share an office. So I have my spot, and then Scott has his spot. And I'll see some of my crystals from my spot make little journeys, little sojourns over to Scott's part of the area. And I'm like, oh, he's playing with my crystals.
I like to hold them.
You do, I know.
Yeah. So what's with the crystals? What do we got for crystals?
Okay.
I like to hold the crystal. I'm a big fan of holding the crystal. I don't charge it. I don't do anything on the full moon.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of the full moon nonsense. But I like to hold a crystal.
You do.
I like to, just like fidget with the crystal.
Yeah, maybe don't do those hand motions when next time you ever talk about crystals again.
Okay. Thank God. Well, good thing there's no video to this.
It's so good right now.
Okay.
Well, we have a new quiz on knowyouraura.com. I don't know if you've been noticing, but We have been working on so many quizzes for you guys, and I hope that you're sharing them and taking them, having fun with them. This new one I'm really excited about because the graphics are so cool, and I just enjoy this one. I really enjoyed making this one. It's a crystal quiz. Find the right crystal for you. All right, so it's going to ask you a bunch of questions about where you're at right now, and then it's going to tell you which crystal you should probably have in your pocket.
And I took it.
Yep.
And you know the crystal that I got?
What?
White millet. And if anybody understands that, you've been listening to this podcast way too long.
This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.